All right, Marsha, get me pulled up over here. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Thank you again for your time today. And oh yeah, I got us on live. Let me put us on mute over here. Oh yeah, we're on mute. Okay, good. All right, so I'll see if there are any comments. If you are watching with us, please don't hesitate to say hello in the comments. And then also, if you have questions for Marsha, this is your time to ask her and to put them in the comment section. If you are watching this as a replay, put in a hashtag replay, and don't forget that you can find this along with all of our other videos on YouTube on my channel. So we've got a lot of content there. Okay, Marsha, let's get down to it. Okay, tell me, we were just talking about, you've been in this group for a minute. This group's been around for about, probably about a year now, maybe almost 2 years actually, and grown tremendously. And there's so much interest. And there are a lot of people like you and me who like to make some money and who like to take our skills and repackage them and repurpose them and do something different. Maybe then it's a little bit considered outside of the box based on what everybody else does. So I would love if you would just, number one, introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your background. That would be great to start.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. I am Marsha Carter-Hall. I'm a family nurse practitioner. My background is in emergency medicine. Right now, I'm working doing telemedicine with psych mental health patients. And in my private practice, I focus on wellness, preventative health. And on the side, I coach and train nurses on businesses outside of the hospital, basically how you can monetize your expertise outside of the bedside. So that is my passion right now.
Okay, now first and foremost, this may be a challenging question. Well, not challenging to answer, but just may press you a little. Do you have a preference on these three businesses, so to speak, that you do, or the three arms of your business?
Yes, three arms of my business. So just to be honest and transparent, because that's how I am, telemedicine will be the least favorite. Just keeping it real. I'm very passionate about helping other nurses realize how much skill and how much we can do away from the bedside, away from the clinic, away from, just kind of the status quo of what we're used to seeing and what we're used to being told that we can do. So that's my favorite. And then my second would be my wellness practice, because I just love making people feel better and using IV hydration and I do some medical aesthetics. So aesthetic services, just because when you look good on the outside, you feel good on the inside when you feel like you look good. And so there's, I kind of bundle that together, but ultimately I focus on helping and giving and serving. And that is what I love to do. I thrive in that space.
Why did you become an FNP?
So I became an FNP because honestly, it was my lifelong goal, really. I always wanted to be a family nurse practitioner. I'm a second generation nurse. So I saw my mom, be in nursing for 20 something years. And I thought, I want to be a nurse. But when I decided that I was going to embark on that journey, I noticed how a great role that nurse practitioners play in the healthcare system. And I was like, man, I really want to do that. So when I was working at the bedside, I realized how limited of a say you have as a regular staff nurse, and how much more the nurse practitioner's opinion, recommendations, all of those things were valued from the medical side of things on occasion, right? And so I said, I don't always agree with these treatment plan recommendations, even as a nurse. So I want to be the one that's making the decisions. And that is why I wanted to be FNP. I wanted to be the decision maker. I want to be the one to make the recommendations for the patient based on evidence and based on what I felt like was best for them. Because sometimes when the doctors or even other providers make recommendations, you may not agree. And when you're the staff nurse, it's like your hands are tied there. So
what do you think that's one of the reasons, kind of your desire to be the decision maker? Do you think that's why you like entrepreneurship?
it's absolutely why I like entrepreneurship, because you get to call your own shots and you get to write your own ticket, and you really get to just set out and do things that you want to do how you want to do them, within reason. I know we have our practice and everything like that, that we have to stay within the guidelines, but I paint my own picture and it's beautiful and I love it.
What state do you practice in?
Maryland is my home base. I'm in Maryland, but I also have license in Virginia and Texas.
Okay,
So, because I do the telemedicine.
for your telemedicine.
Mhm.
How did you get started with your business of helping other nurses monetize, their skills and, skill set?
Well, really, so how I got started with that was once I decided, I started my business, my practice while I was in FNP school. So I had, it was, a nurse-owned business. Myself and my spouse started the business, and other nurses were reaching out to me and saying, how are you doing this if you're not even finished nurse practitioner school yet? Like, how did you start this? Where did you learn? What are you doing? Tell us more. And so that's what I was doing. I was telling, giving, sharing, growing, and people were watching and they were asking. And so that's how I started, people inquiring, and then I said, oh, I really like helping other nurses kind of get into this space, and I like to share. So that's really how.
So when you work with your nurses, tell me, give me, if you would be willing to paint a picture for the typical nurse who comes to you and who you help in this business that you run.
So right now, so they usually find me on social media. I'm usually found on social media. They approach me and they say, oh, I want to do something similar to what you're doing, or I want to do something like wellness, or I want to have my own business. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. And so I say, okay, we hop on a call or we DM back and forth. And I'll say, okay, well, what do you want to do? What do you like to do? I feel like we should all be doing what we enjoy, not so much what we feel like we have to do just to kind of make ends meet. That's not a very appealing life. It's draining. It, in my opinion, increases depression and anxiety. Like, I feel like we should be able to thrive in our zone of genius. And so I meet with them, I talk with them, and most of them already know that they're interested in either IV hydration or medical aesthetics or things like that. And so that's what we end up talking about. I share them the opportunity to, take my course or join my community, or just consult with me on occasion if they want to train with someone else. I'm like, oh, you can call me anytime, or you can book here, and we talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, they reach out to me. We chat either on a video call or DMs or something like that. And then I try to see if we're compatible, because I feel like that's very important when someone's trying to train you and show you something. You need to kind of be compatible with the person.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all can relate to having a preceptor that was not
Didn't
the
work.
best. and it's terrible. And now when you're on the entrepreneur side of things and you're paying, the last thing you want to do is have a kind of situation agreement that doesn't work. So yes, so we work together, and right now I'm so excited. I have 20 something nurses in my community that I've built like on the Mighty Network. So my business has continued to grow. Like, I literally just set out and embarked on just doing the wellness-based service-based business.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned into coaching and consulting and speaking, and it's just turned into a lot.
Yeah, when
But
you make waves, people notice.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful.
Yeah. Why do you think it's important to be able to paint your own picture as a nurse?
Because when I was letting other people stroke the paintbrush, I was not very happy. It was not good for me. I didn't like what I was doing all the time. I was very stressed out. I was finding myself being worried about work before it's time to go to work, thinking about work when I came home from work. Did I do a good job? Because I'm the type of person that goes all in, and I'm giving it all I have from the time I clock in to the time I leave. And even my colleagues and coworkers would say, Marsha, you're doing a lot. Like I would offer my help. I would ask, be a team player. But at the end of the day, I'm like, but if I need a day off, it's declined. If I want vacation, it's, seniority. If, I'm the holidays, I'm just over it. And so, you want to give your all and then get back a half empty cup all the time. And so that's why.
Yeah. Can you tell me kind of, you've talked about what you like in terms of your preference. As someone who is building an empire, so to speak, right? You have multiple arms of your business, you have your consulting work that you do, you also have your own personal, work in telehealth, and you have your own personal work in terms of the hydration, IV hydration, and then the aesthetics. What do you feel like where are you in terms of your journey, and which of those is your side hustle? Because I think I'm curious, are they all kind of like that you put them all together and they create an income for you that works? Or is it like, no, this one's, the primary, and then this one's a side hustle, and the plan is to grow this one to the point where it takes over? Like, what's the split? I mean, if you're willing to share.
Oh, I'm totally willing to share. Telemedicine is on its way out the door. Yeah,
Right.
literally on its way out the door. I think I have like a couple weeks left, but I really didn't even want to bring it into the new year. But I needed to close a chapter with my patients, because I don't want to just disappear. Mental health patients, you need to say, your goodbyes and close out. And so, but to answer your question, I feel like my side hustle is the coaching and consulting right now. And it feels like it's probably going to take over. And my service-based business will still be existing. I really want to grow that into, franchises possibly, or some type of, multiple locations, and have someone running it for me and be able to use that as an additional stream of income. But I love the fact that with consulting and coaching, you can work from anywhere. And I want to travel more whenever the panorama is over, the pandemic is over. I love traveling.
Yeah.
And so I can't do that as much as working in my service-based business.
Yeah.
So, right now the coaching and consulting is a side hustle. The telemedicine is on its way out, and I'm really splitting my time between my service-based business. I do have nurses as staff in my service-based business, so that's good. But I want my full time to be, helping. I want to trailblaze for nurse entrepreneurs. I want to help them realize that you can do this. Like we didn't take the classes on marketing and business and all these different things, but we can learn. We've learned a lot of things.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Capable.
And you don't need an MBA to be somebody who builds a business, and you don't need
No.
To be able to make money on the side, to monetize something that you know how to do and that you enjoy doing too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Like, so many nurses, I get asked all the time, like, well, what would I do? What can I do? And I'm like, every single nurse can monetize their expertise. Every single one of them. Trust me, someone knows ABGs like nobody's business. Somebody can tell you how to handle the dialysis patients the best they know how. There's a nursing student or a nurse that just entered practice that dreams of being a dialysis nurse.
Yeah.
That right there is a stream. There's so many ways.
Yeah. And who also has a willingness to pay for, to cut the crap and find the person who can be the resource, a trusted resource, right? Like,
Yes.
who could save them a bunch of time and money to help them step into that next role as the dialysis nurse who, knows what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, people, there is a market for that.
There is. And so that's what I love. I didn't really, it was not, it was in the cards for me. Obviously, I'm here, but I had no idea it was in the plan. It just happened.
Yeah. There are a lot of people in this group who are thinking about starting. You know, the majority of people who enter side hustles for advanced practice nurses are those who do not yet have a side hustle and they desire one, and they desire to start something. What is your best advice that you could give? And I know you touched on it, you know, a little bit of finding kind of what you enjoy, but and also just what you said, which is like you can monetize any of your skill sets as a nurse, right? What's the best piece of advice, or kind of what could you offer as a next step for that nurse who's like, look, I'm an NP, I'm totally burnt out. I don't want to, you know, I want to try to begin to establish this new career or next phase of my career, and I don't know where to start.
The best piece of advice I could give would be start with identifying what you like and what you don't like. And honestly, that's what I tell my clients before they even know that they're going to be my clients. I say, get a blank piece of paper, take the paper out, and literally on one side, write all the things you love about what it is that you do. Because some people love being a cardiac NP. Some people love being, you know, gerontology NP. But there's sides of it that they don't care for. So write on one side what you love, the other side what you don't, and see where you go with, see where you can go with that. What does that look like for you? If you could paint your dream picture of the whole page of everything that you love, what would that be? Because you'll be surprised. You might look at the page and you have an ebook. You might look at the page and you have a course. You might look at the page and you have, you just never know, another business, a consulting business or something. So that's what I would say. Start there, because so many people they want to do something like you said, but they don't really know what and they don't know how. But once you figure out the what, the how is going to be easier.
I'm curious about your thoughts about coaching. I get a lot of questions of, you know, on coaching. And I think, you know, I'm very biased, clearly. Like I'm totally biased. There's no doubt in my mind that I have a bias toward coaching because I think it's so useful. And it's personally for me been a huge, you know, it's an exciting way to be able to provide a service and to provide value, to create impact in our profession. So I think it's highly valuable. I always recommend it. And I think that our profession, we have a handful of things that make us really good at coaching, which are, we are good at listening. Many of us have developed professionally a skill of listening, whether it's by taking an HPI or, you know, doing an H&P on somebody. Like these are skills that we have. And I'm curious about kind of your thoughts on, you know, coaching as a, or even consulting, because I think there's some, you know, there's similarities there. But in terms of the fit for coaching and consulting with nurses, because I think there are a lot of people who are like, I don't know, like that. I mean, like, what do you do? How do you do it? Like, I don't know if that's me. You know, what are your thoughts about that?
Listen, I was that nurse. I was like, coach me where? Coach me how? Like, stop. I literally was. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to answer your question, but I have to tell you how I was made to be a believer. Okay. Ernice Fennell Williams is your nurse lawyer. And
I was like, wait, if you've not connected with Ernie, you got to go connect with her niece, because like she's probably got something that would be useful to you. I know she's fabulous.
I have her on retainer. I absolutely love her. And let me tell you, me hiring Ernice was a total game changer in my business, in my advanced practice, protecting my license, everything that I do. From working with her, I have literally been like a trailblazer, and I've had so much clarity. And so for me to answer your question is, I am now a believer. Coaching is totally the way to go. And people are so hesitant. Nurses are hesitant because they're like, what do you mean? Why do I have to pay? And then some of them say, well, why does it cost so much? And different things like that. Listen, the price is the price. The investment is if you match with the right coach, your investment is going to be, you're going to get a great return on your investment, period.
One that may pay off in spades down the road again and again and again.
I am the honest to God truth example for that. And
Mhm.
Ernice will tell anybody. She is totally amazed of the work that I have done since we've been working together. And I told her, you can never leave because I have to keep you on my team. Coaching is important because you don't realize, first of all, we all know that two heads are better than one. But sometimes we get in our own way with our own biases, our own thought process, our own life experiences that we can't even see past the weeds. And your coach will can once they get to know you, once they learn about you, once they know the ins and outs about you, they they will be able to tell you, no, yeah, you can do it because you almost did it like this and you almost did it like that. Or did you think about this or consider that? And you're like, So to me, a coach is just as valuable as a therapist,
Mhm.
as my physician, I mean, like, I line them all up because it's very important and they all help you on different levels. Your physician or your nurse practitioner is going to make sure that you stay healthy or they treat any chronic diseases or illnesses that you have. Your therapist is going to keep your mental health together. Your coach is going to help you reach the goals that you want to reach. Get out of your own way. Make sure that you're staying on target with your goals, holding you accountable. A lot of us just need accountability.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's how I feel. And that was a great question. I'm passionate about all of it because I'm like, let me tell you, I always say, you changed my life. She said, you changed your life. I just helped facilitate the process.
She's right. It takes two to tango. I just had a conversation with a client this morning about how similar, she was talking just about what she's accomplished, and we were celebrating some of her wins. And she was appreciative of my support. And I was like, yeah, look, I want to tell you, there are a lot of people, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of ways to go and get motivated and to be inspired and to surround yourself with people who, can help you to get where you want to go. I said, at the end of the day, you can have all of the resources in the world. And if you don't make the decisions that serve you and you don't take the steps for yourself and you don't gain your own clarity, you won't do anything. I mean, so there's, it is kind of that, there's that it takes two. And the other point I think too is, and I'm curious, I think what we do in terms of us being, I think of all of the advanced practice nurse students that I have precepted. I think of all the PA students I've precepted, the med students I've precepted, the nurses, the LPNs. I think of all of the work I've done as a medical director, and I think and maybe you can relate. We do a lot of teaching, and some of us have academic positions where adjunct faculty. And I think at the end of the day, there's nothing. You can teach somebody something, you can coach them on it. If you know how to do something, if you can then teach them to do it, and then you can support them along the way, that is coaching. It's not, not fancy. It's just got a new name. It's shit we've been doing for years. We've been doing this for years. We just put a fancy name on it, called it coach. And I think that's one of the misconceptions kind of about, that it's foreign. And I think it's it is in hand so much so with what we already have done. So many of us for many, many years, and that we're good at,
I agree.
Yeah. All right. What, anything else that you think could be useful to this group, or anything else you want to share that you think is instrumental in terms of your journey? And
I do. I want to share that, with coaching, since we kind of open up that can of worms, I have just a little something to say about that. I have a lot of clients that have been burned, unfortunately, and that's very sad because you have to do your vetting, you have to do your fact checking, you have to do, social proof is great, but you really never know. And so you have to kind of ask into the questions that you want to ask and do the research before you go and hire someone, or before you invest in someone's program. You need to know that they have, your best interest at heart, and it's not just a hustle, or it's not just another, stream of income for them, or they see other people doing it, so they want to do it too. You need to just make sure that that person that you're gonna, and it really is a partner with,
Yeah.
is going to be, doing what they say they're going to do for you. Because, some people that have come to me, they very hesitant, and they're like, oh, because this happened or that happened. And just like in our lives, things happen, and then we just stay in like a little stuck state until we're able to heal from that. So my advice would be, do your research, ask questions, and make sure you're clear on what it is that you're supposed to be getting, and what, your access, and how you communicate, and all with the coach, or the trainer. You need to know like all of those things, because maybe email doesn't work for you. Maybe you want to be able to text. Maybe you want to be able to call. Maybe you want to be able to have someone that has office hours. You just need to know what it is that you need. So you're looking for that in whatever program or partnership that you're looking to start, to get to your side hustle, to start your business.
Yeah, I agree. I was just talking about too, one of my other clients last week, who's a nurse executive, and we were talking about how she was very, when we first started coaching, she was hesitant she's like, I've worked with a couple coaches before. I was like, really? I was like, I know how that goes, because I have too. I've worked with a couple people who I wouldn't recommend. And I said, tell me a little bit about your experience. And so we were talking through it, and she said, well, I was working with a coach that through our company. And she's like, I feel like when I go in there, I can't be honest and talk about how I really feel, because it's a coach. And I said, well, one of the interesting things about that is when you go to search for a coach, a good one, a good consideration to make is that when you are handed a coach or assigned to a coach through your professional organization, through your, wherever you work, they usually coach for compliance, which is that they want you to be more productive usually. I mean, that is usually what it boils down to. They want you to be more productive, more RVUs, and meet the mission goals, or the mission of that organization. And so we were talking through that, and she was like, oh, that's why they didn't really care about, some of our personal things that were going on. I said, yeah, they really don't. And so I agree with you 100%. I think know what you're signing up for, number one, and number two, do your due diligence to make sure that you have somebody who's vetted by somebody else that you trust. I found over the years of being, just in establishing my own business, working with people who come recommended to me is so much better than trying to find somebody on my own cold, going through Upwork or going through Fiverr or some shit for trying to save a buck. I mean, because that's usually what it's always boiled down to. I'm like, well, how can I do it cheaper? Because, I want to, I'm trying to watch my expenses as a responsible business owner. And every time, I look back and I say, why did I, just invest? I got into scarcity, mindset, and that doesn't serve anybody, especially doesn't serve a business owner or somebody who wants to start generating some money on their own. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Nice. Okay. All right, Marsha, where can people find you, and what if they want to talk with you or reach out? How do they do that?
Well, you can reach out to me. Instagram is good. Monetize with Marsha is my tag. And I'm also at monetizewithmarsha.com. And that'll get me. Either one of those. You can reach out to me there. Facebook, my name is different just because, I had a scare in the ER. Patients looking me up. I don't like it. So my name is different on Facebook, but do you tag me on here? If so,
I will. Yes, I will.
Okay. Then they can DM me here when they see the tag, everyone in the group.
Okay.
Yeah, but yes, this is great.
Do you have any upcoming programs or anything you want to share just before we go?
Oh, yes. So right now, actually, we start in a couple of days. I have a new program. It's called Partnerships to Profits, 6 Steps to 6 Figures. And It is a program that basically teaches the nurse entrepreneur how to increase brand visibility and create local partnerships to increase their clientele and monthly revenue. And you know, it works for me, it's worked for my clients, and I put together the framework and it's amazing. And so I was like, I'm gonna make this into a program. So I have, some nurses and nurse practitioners that are ready to hit the ground running for 2022. And so yeah, I have that going. I have 4 seats left.
Good. Okay, good. Reach out to Marsha if you're ready, if you're interested. Okay, good. All right. Thank you so much for your time. This was wonderful to just have your expertise, and just, I really appreciate you sharing your experience and just sharing your advice. I think it's so useful. And I know there's somebody who's watching this. This is in our Facebook group. It goes onto YouTube, and I'm always impressed and amazed by a simple conversation, which it is, right? It's just two nurses getting together, talking about a little bit about business, a little bit about making money, a little bit about thinking outside of the box. And that's something that will be supportive to somebody else in this group. So I just really thank you for sharing kind of what you've done with your brilliance and expertise in the world. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. This is great.
All right, Marsha. All right. If you guys have questions, don't forget, leave them below, and reach out if you need anything. You know where to find Marsha, you know where to find me, and we will see you next time. All right. Thanks, Marsha. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.